Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, you may remember that recently, I think last week or so, I did a video about the 5 stereotypical types of student that any guitar teacher, or for that matter driving instructor, or any type of private tutor is likely to encounter in their careers. And it got quite an audience, that video, and the overwhelming feedback that I got on it was incredibly positive. However, when any video reaches a few thousand views, there are always going to be some people who, you know, their job is to wake up each morning and decide, what am I going to be offended at today? And my video obviously cropped up in their feed, and this was obviously their chance to do a little bit of pearl-clutching outrage and moisten their tenor-lady pads a little bit. So, anyway, happy to provide the service, guys. Crack on. So today, what we're going to talk about are the 5 stereotypical types of guitar tutor, you know, just in the name of balance. These are all kind of guitar tutors that, you know, do exist, and I'm sure many of you guys have encountered them. So let's crack straight on with number 1.
The curriculum dogmatic.
Okay, this is a chap, and quite often it is a chap who has a particular course, a particular curriculum or syllabus that he teaches, and he's not going to deviate from that one little bit. It might be the Hal Leonard method, it might be the Mel Bay method, it might be the Rock School series of lessons, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's sticking to that no matter what. Absolutely no concession will be made to the individual students' musical likes and dislikes, and neither is he going to take into account what an individual student may find easy or difficult. If a student finds a particular chord change or shape or move on the neck of the guitar to be tricky, well, the answer is, as a tutor, what you do is you point to the same paragraph on the same page in the same book as you did last time. And maybe you can accompany this with an encouraging tut and a sigh and a roll of the eyes to just motivate the student a little bit more, and surely he'll then get what he's supposed to be doing. And if he doesn't, don't worry, it's not your fault as a tutor, it's the student's fault because he's just thick, apparently. Now, I had a student come to me years ago. He was a pleasant little chap, 13 years old, and this is going back to about the mid-2000s, and he'd been to a tutor like this. And after about the 4th or 5th week of, you know, having to endure learning the fingerstyle version of Michael Row the Boat Ashore Alleluia or something along those lines, he had the temerity to ask, how soon can we start playing some Green Day songs? At which point the tutor threw him out. He literally frog marched him out of the front door. This is the lad's mum who's telling me this story. Frog marched him out the front door and put him out on the pavement on a cold, damp, drizzly, windy November morning. Yes. Now, I don't doubt, having dealt with the young chap, that there may have been an element of a 13-year-old asking questions to the way he framed it, like a bit like, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And I suspect what happened is that this guitar tutor just flipped. But you know what? If you put an advert in the local press offering your professional services, then it kind of behoves you to act in a professional manner. And I'm not entirely sure that this guy did. Anyway, next.
Sgt Major Ramsey.
Yes, this guy is kind of a hybrid, really. He's sort of a cross between the Windsor Davis Sergeant Major character from the British sitcom of the 70s, It Ain't Half Hot Mum, and professional swearing enthusiast Gordon Ramsay. And I don't know about you, just going off topic for a moment, if you ever met Gordon Ramsay, would you, like me, be tempted to say, Gordon, think of your blood pressure, mate. We're only making a bit of dinner. Doesn't matter if it goes wrong. There's a pot noodle in the cupboard. We'll be fine. I would love to do that. Anyway, This type of tutor, as I say, he tends to treat every lesson as something of a confrontation. His tuition method will usually consist of handing out photocopied sheets with chord shapes and scale diagrams on them, and then it's up to you to go away and figure out the correct technique to play this stuff and come back as an accomplished musician in the next lesson, ready to move on to the next song or whatever. And if you have to shamefacedly admit that, well, actually, you couldn't quite manage it, well, first of all, there's two emotions that will cross his face at that moment. One is joy, because, you've proven yourself to be the worthless maggot that he suspected all along, and the other emotion, which follows in pretty short order, is rage, because, well, you've defied him and you haven't done your homework properly. And, then there's frustration at having to deal with someone as obviously stupid as this particular student that sat in front of him at the moment. And, some people, some tutors are like this, and miraculously they still manage to make a living despite having this kind of parade ground manner. Anyway, next.
The genre Puritan.
Okay, this guy has an almost religious zeal and devotion to one particular genre of music that he sees, and again, it usually is he, sees as being elevated beyond all other styles of music. A typical lesson might go something like this. Okay, so what music are you interested in learning then? What can I help you with? Oh, right, well, me and my friends have formed a band, and we're going to be doing some Green Day and Kasabian songs, and I can play the chords, but it's the lead guitar stuff I struggle with. Can you help with that? Oh, okay, lead guitar, is it? Right, well, you're going to need to learn some scales for that, and probably the best way to understand scales is by learning this John Coltrane saxophone solo. That'll set you on the right path. And so it goes on. Every request or inquiry by the student is steered with all the subtlety of a cattle prod towards whatever genre of music this particular guitar tutor is really into, and kind of feels is just better than everything else because it's obviously. And if you're just too stupid to agree with his musical tastes, then don't worry. His job is to reprogram you.
The amateur.
Okay, so this one is a little bit less tongue-in-cheek. I'm talking about the amateur guitar player here who teaches his friends or, kind of people who learn a few chords or licks or whatever from someone who they know who plays guitar. And before we go any further, I'm not belittling that at all. Okay, I'm not saying that doesn't have its place, and I'm not saying it doesn't have value in it. That is how I learned to play the guitar way back when I was 11 years old, hanging around in the school music room on a lunchtime because it was cold outside, and I saw these kind of big lads that were a couple of years above me in school, and they were kind of playing guitar, and they seemed to be getting a lot of interest from the female of the species, and that appealed to me. So that's how I started. What you got to bear in mind, though, is that a seasoned guitarist, someone who maybe can play a few chords and has got, they can bash out a few songs and so on, they will be doing a lot of things that are just second nature to them. Strumming is a prime example, or, moving quickly and efficiently and easily from one chord shape to another. And these are all things that they're not giving a moment's thought to as they're playing. They're just doing it because it feels natural and intuitive. And they will forget that there was a time when these things weren't natural and intuitive and just second nature. So if you're having a few lessons off a friend who plays the guitar and you hear them say, well, I don't know really, you just feel it and that's how you strum it. Or if they say, well, you just do it like this and move your fingers from chord to chord without, and you don't really have to think about it, then bear in mind that there are probably going to be some gaps in the vital skill base that you're going to need as a guitar player. And those gaps can quite easily be filled with bad habits if you're not very careful. So by all means, seek the advice and the help of your guitar playing friends. But if there's something that they can't answer, something that they can't explain that you're having difficulties with, then seek professional help. Next.
The eagle has landed.
Okay, have you ever turned up for a guitar lesson and the tutor begins by warming up, by playing a full rendition of Far Beyond the Sun by Yngwie Malmsteen, complete with stage poses and Guitar Hero facial expressions? Have you ever turned up for a guitar lesson and the tutor breaks the ice by telling you about a funny story happening when he was jamming with Steve Vai one time, when in reality what probably happened was he turned up to an Ibanez clinic where Steve was there and, hey, they were both in the same room and they both had guitars in their hands, so that counts as a jam, doesn't it? And look, he's got the selfie to prove it. Have you ever turned up for a guitar lesson where the tutor spends 2 minutes showing you a basic pentatonic box pattern and then explains for the rest of the lesson, 58 minutes or thereabouts, how you can now hopefully shred like Gary Moore using that scale pattern, just like this, you know? If you've encountered any of these things, then you've met this guy, you know you have. So there you go. There are my 5 stereotypical guitar teachers that I'm sure most of you have encountered at one point or another. And before anyone accuses me of just giving all of my competitors a bit of a drubbing in this video, I will fully admit that 30 years-ish ago, when I first started teaching the guitar, I didn't know how to be a guitar teacher, and I'm probably guilty of most of the things on this list, but hopefully I've evolved and learned and developed, and, you know, I can now do the job. And, hey, why not put it to the test? There are courses available on my website, Making the Modes Easy, Blues Guitar Beyond the Pentatonic, Play Lead Guitar the Easy Way. They all do pretty much exactly what they say on the tin, and you can preview the courses for free on the Udemy tuition platform. You can see the URL there on screen. The link is also in the description box below. You can preview them for free. They come with jam tracks, tabs, plain English explanations that hopefully get the point across really rather well, I think. But don't take my word for it. Take a look at the reviews that these courses are getting on the Udemy tuition platform, and you'll see the people saying all kinds of nice things about them. Last time I checked, Play Lead Guitar the Easy Way was the highest rated course for lead guitar across the global Udemy tuition platform. So, you know, there's got to be something in there, hasn't there? As I say, preview the courses for free and, you know, no commitment. Or if you prefer some tailored one-to-one guitar tuition, then give me a shout via the details at the end of this video. If you live on Teesside in the northeast of England, you can come along for a face-to-face lesson, or wherever else you are in the world, you can have a lesson via Skype, and you got nothing to lose because your first lesson, however you do it, is free. So just give it a go. You've nothing to lose. If, on the other hand, you are always struck by my sartorial elegance and my cutting-edge fashion sense, I almost said that with a straight face, you can check out the t-shirts that are available on my Teespring site. You can see them here. There's a couple that have my logo on them. I would have been wearing one of those today, but unfortunately I had a fried egg sandwich for breakfast this morning with inevitable consequences, so it's now in the laundry basket. Or there are a couple there, as you can see, that have a couple of quotes that people have had a bit of a chuckle at that I've mentioned in a couple of my videos in the past. So, you know, just check them out, see what you think. And yes, it's what all well-dressed guitar students are wearing this season, apparently. Anyway, I do hope you've enjoyed this video, found it as much fun as I have to make, and if you have, then please hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell and all the rest of it, and I'll just take this opportunity to bid you all a good day and say thank you for your time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again next time around. Bye for now, folks.